After Masters Tokyo, there was a certain Florida man that decided to make a statement and possibly upset 1.4 billion people.
China will never be better than NA. China's 3 years behind, and I mean, if we play enough, they will not be, I don't think they'll be close to it.
What can we say? Florida man is going to do Florida man things. However, let me put this statement into context. Busio said these things because there were rumblings that NA Valorant may be following a similar pattern to what happened to NA League, where a region that was once pretty good now gets dominated by everybody. Now, I personally don't know Busio, but I don't think he actually thinks China's 3 years behind skill-wise. At least I hope so. I think he said the things he said because it was a mixture of him hyping up his team and giving them an added reason to work harder, as well as playing the villain/heel role that's very common in combat sports. Regardless of the reasons though, those comments hang over the region. It will be in the back of people's minds now that VCT China is in their first year. Will they make waves or drown in obscurity? Well, we'll be looking at their past results and their off-season moves to see if they really are 3 years behind, skill-wise. The first time Valorant fans saw a Chinese team at an official sponsored Riot Games Tier 1 tournament was in Champs 2022. Edward Gaming qualified through the East Asian Last Chance qualifiers, and at Champs they failed to make it past the group stage. EDG lost to the likes of PaperX and Team Liquid. They were able to push PaperX to a 3-game series where they won on the Icebox 13-5, as well as losing 13-11 on Pearl and 13-8 on Haven. They got destroyed by Team Liquid 13-5 on Bind, but surprisingly forced a overtime loss against them on Breeze. These results are far from the idea that China's top team was 3 years behind in terms of skill. But what about the other Chinese teams? Well, in 2023, Edward Gaming and FPX, no, not those guys. Riot said no to them for EMEA franchising. This FPX was based in China, and they lost to the likes of Carmine Corps. Yes, those Carmine Corps. They were able to take a map on them, but it's still Carmine Corps. They struggled throughout 2023, so that's not really saying much. On the other side of things though, EDG were able to push 100 Thieves to a 3-map series, and each of them were pretty dang close too. Each of those maps could have easily gone either way. In Masters Tokyo, Attacking Soul Esports and EDG arrived to the thanks of their placements in the FGC Valorant Invitational, where Attacking Soul Esports actually beat Edward Gaming. However, they did lose one close game against DRX and kinda got curb stomped by Foot Esports on Ascent and Lotus. EDG, however, went absolutely nuclear, beating the likes of Na'Vi, who were seen as EMEA's second best team, and Loud, who won the Americas playoffs. This was also Kang's coming out party, where his in-game opping skills and on-stage pop-offs made him a fan favorite and Valorant's newest golden boy. For Champs 2023, BilliBilli Gaming, EDG, and FPX were sent over based on their performance in the Chinese qualifiers. This was also after Busio made those comments.
Chinese Valorant will never be better than NA.
Never. Absolutely not. I will make sure of it. Never.
Brucey's not paying attention to the rest of the world, but we will all be speaking Chinese soon. So I'm gonna have to go and disagree.
Which in hindsight may have lit a fire under each of these teams because they performed a little bit better than a lot of people were expecting. BilliBilli shocked everyone by taking down NRG not once, but twice in Group C. YZ also showed Riot something that most of us ranked grinders already knew. The judge is busted on small maps that have a lot of corners. FPX failed to move out of the group, but Yang did his best to make these games interestingly close. EDG did have some close calls against Giant Gaming, but were able to move on to the playoffs with BilliBilli, where both teams kinda struggled against other regions. BilliBilli had 2 close games against DRX, and EDG lost momentum after their first map win against Evil Genius. BilliBilli will eventually get eliminated by Edward Gaming, and shortly after, Edward Gaming themselves would have some close map losses against Loud, the same Loud that were able to beat Fnatic twice. Overall, it's fair to say that Chinese teams improved a lot throughout 2023 and closed that 3-year gap pretty well. However, they have yet to have a team place top 4 in any Masters or Champions event. So I want to talk about some teams that interest me the most heading into the VCT 2024 season, and possibly change this fact. The first team is JD Gaming. Now, before I go on, a lot of the teams I'm going to talk about in this league will be based on secondhand info. And vibes. According to the grapevines on Reddit and other forums, JD Gaming is seen as the second best team in China. From what I can gather from VLR, they basically bought the Rare Atom crew that came in second place in China's Ascension. Before most of the players were brought onto this team, Rare Atom was able to beat EDG in the upper finals of China's Evolution Series 2-0. But they also lost in a rematch in the grand finals to them 3-0. Each of these games were pretty close though. A name to keep an eye out on is Stu. This Korean import is going to be the team's duelist. Based on past performance, he's looking like to be one of the region's best. Even when Rare Atom lost, his stats were better than the opposing duelists. This man is just a fragger. However, the team that Rare Atom lost to in Ascension was Dragon Ranger Gaming. They, like many Chinese teams that you may see, will sport 7 players on a roster. When I first saw this, I was hoping that it was going to be a case similar to Evil Genius, where the team has a reserve roster for high quality practices. But there were series in the past that DRG had 6 different players compete in the Chinese Ascension. Nonetheless, beating a team that is seen as China's number 2 isn't anything to sleep on. I would not be surprised if we see their names at an international stage, either Shanghai or Champs 2024. Next, we have Titan Esports Club, and the only reason why I'm mentioning them is because of RV. Yes, the same RV that was regarded as DRX's goated flex player. They too have 7 roster spots filled. If someone who's more familiar with Chinese Valorant, please tell me why there's so many teams in this region that have 7 players. Is 7 just a lucky number, or is there some other analytical reason that I'm not seeing? Nonetheless, before RB joining this team, they weren't too special. But hey, if you are a fan of DRX or RB and want to root for another Chinese team, then Titan Esports Club may be the one for you. I'm definitely keeping an eye out on them because I want to see how RB does and if he can take this team to another level. And let's not forget about BilliBilli Gaming. They kept the likes of YZ, who I believe ushered in some judged nerfs that we saw after Champs 2023, as well as Yosemite, who many will forever remember for this clip. Are you okay? Everyone on that Champs team except Rin got brought back. He got replaced by Bear, who VLR are saying is their new IGL. I hope to see them on the international stage in the future, mainly because I love their jerseys and energy in Champs 2023. And did you really think I was going to do a whole video on Valorant China without giving a section to EDG? Come on now. These guys are still seen as the king of the region. They have the most experience and success at the international stage. Out of all the teams I mentioned, Edward Gaming is most likely to be the first ever Chinese team to place top 4. Or shoot, they may even lift an international trophy. They might even do it before an APAC team, especially since they will have home crowd advantage in the second Masters event. I do have to mention that 2023 was pretty busy for them. EDG played over 50 matches during this time. To put that in perspective, both EG and Fnatic played around 30 games separately in 2023. Luckily, they do get to have some rest from that crazy 2023 season. There are some other teams like Trace Esports that were able to beat the likes of EDG and BilliBilli a couple of times, as well as Tai Lu, who haven't really done anything too spectacular, but I want to mention them because they did sign the Alphabet Man himself to the team.
Yeah, my dog HFM0 DZJ. Have you not seen that username? C9Z7. That's my dog right there. Oh, I didn't mean to curse. That's my freaking dog right there.
Overall, it's safe to say the top teams in China aren't 3 years behind skill-wise. However, if they didn't have the likes of EDG, then things would have been looking a lot worse for this region. But what do you guys think? Which team do you think could step up and shock the world? Also, let me know down below if I miss any other teams people should know about, or feel free to correct me on any mistakes that I may have made. It wasn't the easiest fact checking everything for this video, so I wouldn't be surprised if I got some things wrong. But till then, stay safe and I'll see you guys later.